All right, this video is just for Jews who don't like Donald Trump, and especially those Jews who say he's anti-Semitic. I mean, I hear it a lot, not just from the fringe media, like the Philadelphia Daily News, where this picture's from, but from the Washington Post, the New York Times, the New York Daily News. Everywhere in the mainstream media, they say Trump is a Nazi, a racist, an anti-Semite. So is it true? Like I say, this is a special video just for Jews, especially American liberal Jews. So can everyone else please go watch something that's probably more up your alley? I don't know. What's the least Jewy thing on TV? Duck Dynasty, probably? Okay, thanks. All right, look, my fellow Hebrews, I know you love the Democrats because most of the time being Jewish to you doesn't really have anything to do with the Jewish religion. I mean, at least not since your bar mitzvah. In North America, to most Jews, most of the time, it means just liking Jewish stuff, like Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld and Sarah Silverman, Amy Schumer, and Jewish food and taking a few extra days of holidays. It's a vague cultural pride thing, like bragging about how many Jews won Nobel Prizes or which Hollywood stars are Jewish or half Jewish. So yeah, culturally, most Jews are a fit with the party of the liberal elites, the party of New York and Chicago and LA and trial lawyers and professors and Wall Street types, the Democrats. So it's easy to sneer at Donald Trump, that striving blue-collar billionaire. I mean, look at him sitting in those golden chairs, so ostentatious. No Jew I know would ever be so nouveau riche, right? And the way he talks.
It's a huge problem.
A huge problem. That is a huge problem.
Yeah, a noisy, mouthy New Yorker with huge real estate investments. Yeah, what Jew could possibly like a guy like that? But seriously, is Donald Trump really anti-Semitic? Every Democrat I follow on Twitter has tweeted pictures of Trump with his arm out, Heil Hitler style. I mean, of course, you can do that with anyone. So let me answer this charge in two ways. How does Donald Trump treat Jews in his own life? And even more important, how does he treat Jewish issues in his political life? What would he be like as president? Now, in his own life, I'm going to tell you something shocking, and it's actually the reason why I told all the non-Jews to stop watching this video. Here's a fact I don't really want conspiracy theorists to hear. All of Donald Trump's children are either married to or dating Jews. All of them. The most famous of his kids, Ivanka Trump, she married Jared Kushner, who's Jewish, and she converted to Judaism herself. She actually took a Jewish name, Yael Trump. Her kids, Trump's grandkids, are Jewish. They probably call him Zadie. But it's not just Ivanka. Donald Jr. is married to Vanessa Hayden, who's Jewish. Eric Trump is married to Lara Yunaska, who's Jewish. They married under a Jewish chuppah or wedding canopy at Mar-a-Lago, an exclusive club that used to ban Jews until Trump filed a massive lawsuit against the bigots to let the Jews in. And then there's Tiffany Trump, Donald Trump's other daughter by Marla Maples. She's not married yet, but she's dating a Jewish man named Ross Mechanic. Trump has one more kid with Melania. His name is Barron. He's just 10. So it's not yet 5 kids out of 5 who were with Jews, but I wouldn't bet against Barron dating a Jew, would you? That's in Trump's personal life. His company, the Trump Organization, pretty Jewy. Executive Vice President, Michael Cohen. Other Executive Vice President, Jason Greenblatt. Chief Financial Officer, Alan Weisselberg. There's a token Gentile as Chief Operating Officer. Pretty much the Shabbos goy who goes into the office by himself on Yom Kippur. Here's Donald Trump as a parade marshal at the Salute to Israel March in New York in 2004, a dozen years ago. He's been pro-Israel and pro-Jewish long before this campaign. And his campaign? Jewish. Stephen Miller, the firebrand speechwriter and spin doctor who also gives the warm-up speeches at the crowd for Trump's rallies? Jewish. I saw this, Michael Abood, communications coordinator. Sounds Muslim, right? No, Sephardi Jew. Steve Mnuchin, finance chair, Jewish, of course. So everywhere Trump goes, he's pretty much outnumbered by Jews. His own family, his staff, his circle of friends. I wonder if he ever feels like he needs a break from us. But still, I don't know. Maybe he is a secret anti-Semite. I mean, Hillary Clinton says he's racist, and she wouldn't lie about that, would she? Well, here's the thing. It is possible to pose for pictures with Jews and have Jews marry into your family and to speak at Jewish rallies and take Jewish donations and still be awful when it comes to policies about Jews in Israel and the threat of Muslim terrorism. I mean, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, they have plenty of Jewish friends, even though they have been the most hostile administration towards Israel in history. I mean, they lit the fire of the Arab Spring. They gave Iran permission to build nukes. So what about Trump's public policy positions? Well, in June, Trump gave the most amazing policy speech I've ever heard by a politician of any party outside of Israel, where he speaks so plainly and honestly about radical Islam and its war on Western values. I'm sure you have not seen it because the media prefers to report on and debate the nuances of Trump's goofier tweets all day. But let me play for you 2 clips from that speech. You really owe it to yourself to watch the whole thing. Here's the first clip.
We cannot continue to allow thousands upon thousands of people to pour into our country, many of whom have the same thought process as this savage killer. Many of the principles of radical Islam are incompatible with Western values and institutions. Remember this, radical Islam is anti-woman, anti-gay, and anti-American. I refuse to allow America to become a place where gay people, Christian people, Jewish people are targets of persecution and intimidation by radical Islamic preachers of hate and violence.
Have you ever heard Clinton or Obama or any Democrat talk that way? Of course not. Here's one more shorter clip.
This is not just a national security issue. It's a quality of life issue. If we want to protect the quality of life for all Americans, women and children, gay and straight, Jews and Christians, and all people, then we need to tell the truth about radical Islam, and we need to do it now.
That's Trump. Brilliant speech. And it's not just something he started saying lately during the campaign. Speaking of tweets, here's a tweet Trump wrote about 5 years ago. The White House should stop publicly pressuring Israel on Iran. Iran's nuclear program is the threat, not Israel's right to self-defense. That's great. Here's another from 2011. He said, why is the UN planning to attack Israel's sovereignty and ignore Iran's nuclear program? The U.S. should look at future funding. Here's one more about the United States funding Hamas. He wrote, bad move. Barack Obama released $147 million in aid to the Palestinians. That money is going to Hamas. That's Donald Trump. There has never been a more pro-Israel candidate for president ever. So what about Hillary, though? I mean, she's certainly done the Jewish fundraising circuit in America. She says all the right things at AIPAC conferences, but when she's in the Middle East, well, let's put it this way. She follows the money, which obviously starts with the most anti-Semitic, anti-Christian, anti-woman dictatorship in the world, Saudi Arabia. Hillary loves the Saudis, and they love her. They gave her foundation $25 million, just as a gift. And that's just from the kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Other Saudi sheiks donated to her personally, as did Muslim dictatorships like Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, the United Arab Emirates. Millions of dollars, private gifts to her personal foundation while she was Secretary of State. That's why she kept her email secret, so no one could see the quid pro quo, what was said to the Saudis in return for the money. Clinton's most intimate assistant, Huma Abedin, born in the U.S. but raised in Saudi Arabia, is from a family of Islamic extremists. Huma worked with the Muslim World League, an organization funded by the Saudi government that was used by Osama bin Laden to finance his operations. And even after 9/11, Huma was still working for the extremist Journal of Muslim Minority Affairs with her sister, her brother, and her mother. The Muslim extremism is the family business, and now she's Hillary Clinton's top aide. But Clinton has always been close to Muslim extremists. Even before she set up a foundation to make money off it, here she is more than 15 years ago, hugging Suha Arafat, then the wife of Yasser Arafat, moments after Suha Arafat had accused Jews of using poison gas on Palestinian babies. Clinton kissed her after she said that. But you don't need to go back 15 or 20 years. Just look at what Clinton did during her term as Secretary of State. She pushed ahead with the nuclear deal for Iran. She supported Mohammed Morsi of the terrorist Muslim Brotherhood in his takeover of Egypt. And she stood by him as he started to bring in Sharia law in Egypt. And Clinton objected when the Egyptian army helped topple Morsi and restore order. Clinton and Obama were the architects for the extremely hasty total withdrawal and abandonment of Iraq against Pentagon advice. It happened so quickly, it created the void filled by the Islamic State terrorists. Clinton loved to topple steady, stable regimes, especially those that were the most benign towards the West, Egypt and Libya's Muammar Gaddafi. Even though Gaddafi had renounced weapons of mass destruction, paid billions in reparations to the UK for terrorism, and said he wanted to be an ally, Clinton took him out.
We came, we saw, he died. Did it have anything to do?
Yeah, she helped topple Gaddafi, and she stood by as Islamic radicals took over the country. Stood by as Muslim terrorists murdered 4 U.S. citizens, including the ambassador, blaming it on a YouTube video.
The fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make?
Clinton knew it was Muslim terrorists, but she was part of the lie to cover it up to protect Obama's re-election chances. Clinton never says the words Islamic terrorism. She just can't say them. She says the opposite, though, after every Islamic terrorist attack. Here she is. She says, let's be clear, Islam is not our adversary. Muslims are peaceful and tolerant people and have nothing whatsoever to do with terrorism. Really? She wrote that just days after Muslim terrorists killed more than 100 people in Paris. Clinton says Angela Merkel, the German chancellor, who's let in 2 million Muslim men in the past year, she says Merkel is her role model. She says she'd increase the number of Muslim migrants to the United States by 500%. Do you doubt it? So, yeah, Jews, I think it's time to grow up a bit. If being Jewish to you is just about bagels and remembering the Holocaust, then vote for whoever. If you hate the Republicans because your family always voted Democrat and you think Trump is a bit much, vote for whoever. But if you actually mean what you say, that the rise of Muslim anti-Semitism and terrorism and threats to the Jewish people and threats to Israel are important to you, then give your head a shake. Hillary Clinton is the most anti-Israel candidate in history who has taken tens of millions of dollars from Muslim dictators, who has a Saudi radical as her most intimate advisor, and who promises to bring in countless Muslim migrants to the heart of America. And then there's the guy with 8 Jewish grandchildren, Jewish advisors, a pro-Israel foreign policy, and a national security immigration policy. Pretty easy choice, I think. For the Rebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant. Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member. Duck Dynasty, probably. Okay, thanks. All right, look, my fellow Hebrews, I know you love the Democrats because most of the time being Jewish to you doesn't really have anything to do with the Jewish religion. I mean, at least not since your bar mitzvah. In North America, to most Jews, most of the time, it means just liking Jewish stuff, like Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld and Sarah Silverman, Amy Schumer, and Jewish food and taking a few extra days of holidays. It's a vague cultural pride thing, like bragging about how many Jews won Nobel Prizes or which Hollywood stars are Jewish or half Jewish. So yeah, culturally, most Jews are a fit with the... All right, this video is just for Jews who don't like Donald Trump, and especially those Jews who say he's anti-Semitic. I mean, I hear it a lot, not just from the fringe media, like the Philadelphia Daily News, where this picture's from, but from the Washington Post, the New York Times, the New York Daily News. Everywhere in the mainstream media, they say Trump is a Nazi, a racist, an anti-Semite. So is it true? Like I say, this is a special video just for Jews, especially American liberal Jews, so Can everyone else please go watch something that's probably more up your alley? I don't know. What's the least Jewy thing on TV? Party of the liberal elites. The party of New York and Chicago and LA and trial lawyers and professors and Wall Street types, the Democrats. So it's easy to sneer at Donald Trump, that striving blue-collar billionaire. I mean, look at him sitting in those golden chairs, so ostentatious. No Jew I know would ever be so nouveau.